Rose? Rosie! A voice screamed from the other side of the wall. It was annoying, a nasal, high-pitched shriek. If you can imagine a witch with a flu casting a spell. Yes, that was Amake Zele, the frustrated first wife of a mildly successful polygamist. He was a mechanic by profession, but the neighborhood celebrated him more for having 3 women in one house. As far as I could tell, the wives had a bedroom each that they shared with their children. But Paul, the big man in question, got to legally sleep in a different bed at his whim. And I was given special treatment because my father sent Paul a couple of dollars as long as he would keep me for my stay in Lusaka. See, I had to collect a couple of business documents and came to like Paul. Now, I'm not sure I'd managed multiple women, but he said a lot of useful things in the 2 weeks that I have spent here. My name is Mwaikia, by the way. 25 years old, kinky hair, thin specs. But I think it's clear this story isn't about me. Just a few things I got to hear from behind the wall. Rose is Paul's niece, the last surviving relative he has outside his wives. When her father passed on, Paul swore to keep Rose even though his brother's will instructed otherwise. She had spent a lot of her younger life indoors, but if I am as good a judge of character as I'd like to believe, then the petals are starting to bloom. After all, Amake Zele keeps commenting on how her clothes are getting shorter. Foolish child, you are making us look like we cannot afford fabric, she casually barks every Friday morning so far. Amake Robi and Amake Kangwa, the younger mothers, seem very docile for the most part, probably a product of having to deal with the matriarchy for so long. Even I have learned the easiest route to peace in this house is by avoiding Amake Zele. Zele was supposed to be her son from long before Paul took another wife. No one talks about it, but I think this family adopted chaos when they lost that child. One crazy thing about stillborns is you never get to give all the love your heart started saving since that second red line showed up on the pregnancy test. Robbie and Kangwa definitely got the worst of it, but that's something a therapist will have to deal with in their early 30s. While I stayed in this house, I learned that being behind the wall gives one a different perspective. Could it be why the more experienced generals are kept away from the bullets and bombs? It must be hard to plan an attack amidst the chaos. I have also learned all the ways the walls have ears, and if you listen close enough, you can hear them whisper as well, softly saying things that really need to be forgotten. Like how Paul is actually barren, and Zele is the only time his seed bore any fruit. Or how he married Amake Robi and Amake Kangwa because the family found it easier to blame the lack of children on his wife. How Paul and Amake Zele knew Robi and Kangwa were not his children but chose to avoid ruining the reputation he built for himself. How Rose was the only child Paul had fathered but denied it so long ago he could no longer admit this to any of his wives.